your solution. It's not really, I don't like to look at it always it's just a product, it's just a service. It's more of a solution, because usually people that are hearing you, that you're talking to, they have a problem. And you are a professional problem solver. That at the end of the day, as a business owner, that's what we are. We solve problems professionally because we don't do it for free. We want to know how to make money on Instagram. We spend so much time on this platform and other platforms as well, whether it's YouTube, TikTok. There's so many different ways that we could actually utilize our time and all of the stuff that we create content-wise, whether it's video and audio and just graphics, and actually make money for us. Let me ask you first in regards to how to make money on social media. What method do you utilize yourself to make money on social media, whether it's specifically Instagram or another platform?
Yeah, definitely. I think the most important key is, no matter where you're focusing on social media, is to make sure that you're getting your audience off of social media. I feel like that's always a really big strategy for me, is I lean heavily on email marketing. So a lot of times where I'm trying to bring people, it might be to something like an offer, but often the first connection point happens in that email list. So I think that's definitely an important tip. But I definitely love to use my content to build connections with my audience by sharing things outside of just what I do, and building those connection points. If anyone's coming over from my community, I'm sure I could say a few words and they probably would know what I mean. So I think building those relationships is really important, and something always my clients have said. But I also think just building expertise and authority. I think this room is such a great example of, we all do very similar things, but we all do it in very different ways and for different types of people. So I think making sure that you're differentiating yourself and not trying to be everyone for everything is kind of how I focus on my content, but then get people off of the app as well.
Wow, that's really powerful. I think that what you shared there, in the sense of, you're really capturing people's attention on your social media, but you're moving them somewhere else, and that's going to be different for each person and each business, each brand. But I really love that you made it a point that, like, even though we're talking about making money on social media, you're opening up the floor to finding different avenues of how we're connecting deeper, because at the end of the day, it's all about connection. So I am so glad that you brought that up. Thank you.
I think that as social media people, we often think that that's where we make all of our money, but I think it's really important to use it in harmony with other types of services like podcasting, email, so they all can work together.
I love that, because it creates like a cohesive environment around yourself as a brand. And I think that's something that sometimes we forget about. We focus so much on one platform. We want to get so much community here. We focus on running everything on that platform, that sometimes we even forget about making money, because we're so attracted to the vanity metrics that end up following some of that great content we create.
My biggest thing when it comes to making money on social media, it's getting into conversations with people. It doesn't matter what platform you're on. If you're on Instagram, you're on Facebook, you're on TikTok, wherever you are, it's getting into conversations with people. But we're at a point right now that I believe it's a lot of a pivot in marketing, where it's a harder sell. It's a much harder sell on social media. The last couple of years have been a little bit easier. It's been a lot easier. People had more money. They were clicking, they were buying. But right now it's caring about the person you're talking to, and it doesn't matter where you're bringing them. We use text marketing. We build a lot of our business through text messaging, getting them off social media onto our text message list. And then the big thing is caring about people, asking them what their goals are, and serving them. So often what happens is people get into a conversation or a sales page and they don't feel heard, or they don't feel understood, and then they just go buy from somebody else. They want to feel like you care about them, and we're in a world right now where people need more than just a sales page. And the next thing I would say when it comes to building a business on social media, this is what Casey and I have done. Really, I remember when I wasn't making any money when I first got started in entrepreneurship. I didn't make any money for 3 years. It was finally on year 4 I started to make a consistent income. Praise God for that. But then at that year 4 mark, Casey and I did something differently that changed the game and everything. And what that was is tapping into referral marketing. So what we do and how we built over $1 million business is we teach our clients and customers how to post on their social media for us. And that way it bridges the connection between you and a prospect. And we like to call it OPN, other people's networks. You're probably familiar with that. But when you're getting in other people's networks, you're teaching people how to post for you. That's a valuable way to grow your business on social media because the trust factor is a little bit higher and you can convert sales faster with that one mutual connection of trust.
That kind of like brings us to the conversation that we talk about a lot, Heston, collaboration. And it's just done in different ways on different platforms with different business models.
It seems like we focus so much on social media, but sometimes we forget about the opportunity that's off of social media. You know, we've mentioned email lists, and we're talking about also podcasts. You know, you're putting out your content in other aspects and ways that the audience might want and actually cater to. And then you're pushing them towards your solution. It's not really, I don't like to look at it always it's just a product, it's just a service. It's more of a solution because usually people that are hearing you, that you're talking to, they have a problem. And you are a professional problem solver. That at the end of the day, as a business owner, that's what we are. We solve problems professionally because we don't do it for free. And if we have a solution that can answer your problem, we have as a responsibility to deliver it to you in whichever output or format you would best prefer. And that could be audio or video, but it doesn't always have to live on one platform. It can live on multiple platforms. And as you guys are stating, it can live off of platform. You know, sometimes we're so used to being digital, we forget that there's a real world outside that you could actually host an event. You know, I've seen Natasha, you've went to, I believe it was social media marketing world, where you got to actually speak to different individuals and you're growing your audience there. And it's an amazing opportunity that we sometimes forget about because we're so used to easily picking up our phone and just hitting the buttons and sending the DM, which is great, but there's a bigger world outside sometimes, and we sometimes tend to forget about that.
I was gonna say, I would love to speak to that a little bit of like, I always say that like one of the best places to grow on social media is actually off social media. So I found that being able, I know where that's kind of like segueing into the other topic, but I feel like when we talk about growth, there's 1,000,010 growth tactics you can use on the platform that you're on. But when you're able to go in front of other people's audiences, whether it's virtually, virtual summits, podcasts, interviews, even press, or if you're able to get on in-person stages, retreats, events, that is where not only you're able to grow your audience, but you're growing your audience in front of people that are already very, very warm leads because you're connecting with them in person. And it also just builds that extra trust factor of the people you're collaborating with or the stages that you're on. So it's definitely an underutilized thing. And there's so many different speaking opportunities that we can leverage, even if you've never stepped on stage.
Everyone's always saying, you know, you add value in your content and that makes people buy, right? But that's just surface level. I like to say add value backed by your values. Like we're adding value to what your people desire, what they need help with. But in order to actually make a sale, they have to know, like, and trust you. We hear that all the time. And to get them to that point, you have to have aligned values. They have to feel heard, seen, and understood when they are reading your content, watching your content, consuming it. And so we really need to mix in value type content like 10 tips to blank or how to blank with our own unique branding, our own unique values that really built our brand. So I think in 2023, it's super important to make sure you are showing up as that value packed content, but also as a human that has values.
For me personally, what I'm seeing right now is by deeply caring about people, you get to learn their, like Heston was saying, their problems and struggles. But to be able to do that, I feel like there's a disconnect with some people because you're a marketer and you post and you do all the things. We forget that communication with real humans is important. So really discovering how to ask open-ended questions when you are chatting with your ideal client. So open-ended questions is digging deeper into their why do they want change? What are their pain points? What are they struggling with? But when you really dig deep with people, they're going to reveal to you what they need to grow, to get to the next level, to buy your program, and you'll be able to utilize what they say. So really listening, asking open-ended questions like, tell me a little bit about X, Y, and Z. And then when someone tells you, okay, this is what my goals are, but okay, so let me make sure I'm understanding this correctly. You mirror what they're saying. And then is there anything that I'm missing? Or veer the conversation into what your product or service does. Would it be helpful if you could ABC, right? So when you get people sharing their deepest wants, they're going to buy anything from you because no one has cared about them in the last few years, right? And I believe right now in social media, one of the things that we do need to do as leaders is challenge people to step up, right? We were in survival mode in 2020, and then in 2021, yeah, people were just trying to survive, right? And then 2021, kind of still surviving mode, but then we got into coping mode of like, you had an option to do something or not do something, but then now we're in this place of phase 3, which is productive harmony. And what that means as leaders, as influencers on social media, you need to challenge your people to step it up. When you're in conversations, you don't need to be so passive in a way of just believing in people, but challenging them to step up, and those people are going to thank you for challenging them.
Let us know down in the comments, actually, as you're watching, do you like seeing collaboration, and do you feel like collaboration brings that trust? Just let us know in the comments by saying collab if you enjoy seeing collaborations, because I think that that's something that is really unique in this shift that we're going forward with marketing on social media. It's collaboration over competition. Such a beautiful thing.